There are dirty tricks that are legal and ethical. How can that be? Well, in our line of work, there are things that are kind of the norm, and then there are things that go above and beyond. Things that the bad guys just don't expect you to do, to go through that trouble, energy, or effort to make happen, to get them caught. And so that's the type of thing that I want to discuss today. I have one in particular for loss prevention. Of course, I've written the book, 51 Dirty Tricks Bad Guys Really Hate. And I love the things that I teach in there. There are some really off-limit stuff in there. I make no bones about it. But in reviewing it recently, I was kind of pleasantly surprised at how many usable, doable tricks there are. And today's example is one of those types of things, although it's not in the book. So, yeah, bonus trick for you if you already got the book. Let's look at a very specific incident where loss prevention approached two thieves and see what happened. Let me prep this for you. This is a store where two thieves are going to be leaving with stolen merchandise, actually in like rolling carts that they're pulling behind them, red carts. And you'll see loss prevention come up and approach them. And it looks to me like the guy who's in a loss prevention shirt, he's clearly labeled, is just trying to recover the merchandise and not necessarily trying to make an apprehension. Let's take a look. There you have it. Number one, number two, they walk out. Loss prevention grabs the merchandise. The woman pulls mace from her pocket and sprays the guy in the face. He seems to just be really trying to get them out the door. He gets back in. He has recovered the merchandise, which is good for him. You can see a store associate actually went down on the floor. But the bad guys come back, start grabbing up stuff. They actually keep all the merchandise that they can get their hands on. They gather their purses and everything and continue even to take the rolling cart out the door. So one thing is obviously, and I am not second guessing this guy, you watch their hands, but for one of them to have their hand in their pocket on the way out, I don't know that that's even totally avoidable for loss prevention, probably working alone, but be aware of the hands. That's always the critical part. What they have in their hands are the things that's going to hurt you. But let's look at it again as they leave. They've got their carts of merchandise, and she's actually got a purse as well on her shoulder, and she takes extraordinary effort to mace him. She doesn't just turn and run. As he comes back in, notice though he's got her purse. I think he probably suspects that that's just more merchandise, but he did end up getting her purse. She comes back in. Look, the first thing she grabs is her purse. Matter of fact, she even pauses to look in it to make sure her stuff is there. That's the most important thing to her, the single most important thing. The merchandise all comes secondarily. So what's the dirty trick? Simply this: knowing what you've just seen and that this might happen in the future for you, grab the purse. That's the thing that she wants. That's the most important thing to her. I had this situation come up once when I was loss prevention, wasn't totally prepared, and this was in the 90s, and cell phones were not a thing, but pagers were, beepers were. And I went to approach a guy. I got up on him. He turned, he's actually kind of a big guy, and as I grabbed at his chest, I got no grip on him and no grip on his clothing, and he turned and took off, but his pager snagged and fell to the ground. I turned to an associate, a sales associate who had come out. I said, grab the pager, and I ran for the bad guy who smoked me. He got away, and I didn't have a ton of people get away from me, but this guy hands down got away, never even looked back. He was an athlete. No problem for him to escape. The problem was, again, there was another person involved. My sales associate did not grab that pager as I had instructed him. The thieves' friend, associate, accomplice did grab the pager then and run off with it. If I had gotten the pager, then I would have at least put a major inconvenience in the guy's life, not to mention had evidence and identity, something I could flesh out to an identity to press charges on the guy. So I missed the opportunity the first time this happened to me. You can see in this case, the guy missed the opportunity, although he was in much worse shape than me, being pepper sprayed in the face. But I don't want you to miss that opportunity. So think about that in the future. If you can hang on to their personal property, that's going to hurt them more. That's a dirty trick. They know you're going to try to hang on to the merchandise, but they don't expect you to hang on to their stuff. Now, is this legal? Man, don't ask anybody online if something's legal. They're not going to be able to give you a good answer. However, I would suggest you're not doing any more than collecting evidence at this crime scene, right? If some dodo comes and stabs somebody in the heart, but drops his wallet in the process, you're not obliged to pick up the wallet and say, I'm sorry, my good man, you dropped your wallet. Let me return your personal property to you. No, the wallet is now evidence. The purse is evidence. The pager was evidence. I would have personally no problem at all hanging onto her purse as part of trying to take her into to apprehend her, or as collecting evidence for future prosecution. So there's the dirty trick for you. Think about what they really want the most there, and is it something you can legally and ethically hang on to, even if they get away? If this is the type of trick you think, yeah, I would do that. That makes a lot of sense, Larry. Then 51 Dirty Tricks Bad Guys Really Hate might be a book for you, because I do have a lot of ideas. Not ideas, that's not fair. I have a lot of real world practical things that work in that book. Just stay away from the ones that really are off limits. I have a chapter on the off limit ones. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.